Peace and power. You're now live with Readyo Radio. That's Readyo Radio on UrbanNationRadio.com. This is Tuesday, episode 38. It's a great day. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mindful B.
Kojo Lee.
Info Keith.
And we got the all-star team here. We actually should pull up an extra chair for our special guest. Actually doesn't need a chair. It's ascended to another plane. Today is the celebration, the 90th anniversary celebration of the Honorable Malcolm X, and we want to dedicate this show to some of the ideals and some of the just paying homage to what a great leader he is and was, and the impact that he's had, and just all of the conversations. I'm sure everybody's had at least one conversation about Malcolm X at one point or another. And so we want to take this episode 38, to engage you all and share some of the ideologies that he was known for, and some of the things that he wasn't known for as well. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it off to Kojo to kind of share something a little deeper. He has a tendency to get a little deeper than I hit you with the surface level at first, and then he digs deep, and then Info Keep just drops a book of knowledge on you. So that's how we rolling.
Yeah, we give thanks first and foremost for all of our ancestors, and today's a special day. You won't find a Google Doodle for Brother Malcolm X, right. But it's well deserved. So we do what it is that we know we should be doing, with or without those accolades or public gratification that comes with it. But in short, we had a show about holidays a few months ago, and today's a special holiday for us. One in a lifetime opportunity that presented itself. Brother Malcolm was called to do certain things, and he answered. Again, it takes certain recipes to create a Brother Malcolm. And what we look to do with this platform, Readyo Radio, is to also give others the potential and the possibility of gaining knowledge and wisdom to excel in the times that come. We know there will be other opportunities for leaders to step up and may not even know that they're leaders, which is something that to me is profound, is Brother Malcolm's story, how it started off. He started off Malcolm Little and became Detroit Red, went to prison, and in prison, the guy who we came to know as Malcolm X was birthed. And it's a powerful story, and you can look at it from so many different perspectives. But truly, we really just in this space here, first and foremost, give thanks and to have an example of what it means to answer the call when conscience call you to do what it's sitting here to do. Again, him being 90 today is a powerful number, divine number 9. We want to share. Instead of having our typical T-folk, shout out to T-folk. We're gonna do a few Malcolm X interviews and different clips. Some from the movie that Spike Lee directed with Denzel.
Which was awesome.
Powerful movie. And we're also going to share some excerpts from the autobiography of Malcolm X to kind of coincide with the discussion. In the second half of the show, we'll be discussing the main focus of Malcolm X's life, which is justice and equality. And we're going to do another round of talking about racial tension in America. So we're going to use Malcolm X's legacy to segue into that for the second part of the show. So that's really why we're doing what we're doing, why we've always done what we've done, to remind us and to pay homage to our ancestors, because that's where we get our power from. That's literally where we come from, and who is watching us from the other side and then sending energy to us in the form of new births that will come to us. So it's important. It's important that we, even in our immediate family, our grandfathers, our cousins, whoever that you have on the other side working for you and with you, it's important that we reach out and pay homage. But without further ado, I think Info Keith has some wisdom, so I'm taking notes earlier. That's always a sign that there's a lot
I wouldn't lie. Just kind of veggie backing off of what you said.
Veggie back.
We I have some statistics about black media and the need for ownership. So us here, we are, black media, and if we don't tell our story, who else will? And this is just a couple different facts about black media ownership. I think this was written in 2009, and I bring this up because that was one of Malcolm's. One of his things was ownership. We need to own our own schools, own our own banks, clothing stores, education facilities. So this one is about media, though. So this one, I'm just read an excerpt from it. So it says, what we can extrapolate from the FCC, or the Federal Communications Commission, report that stated as of 2011, whites own 70% of the nation's 1,348 television stations. That's up from 63.4% in 2009, and when there were 1,187 stations. The report continued, while white ownership increased, most minority ownership decreased. Blacks went from owning 1% of commercial TV stations in 2009 to just 0.7% in 2011. Asian ownership slipped from 0.8% in 2009 to 0.5% last year. Latino ownership slightly increased from 2.5 to 2.9%. Females own 6.8% of all commercial TV stations in 2011, compared to 5.6% in 2009. The same report indicated that whites own almost 80% of all AM and FM radio stations, with more than 70% owned by men. And I think that's important to highlight because it shows that we have no diversity in what we receive. So as a result, you see every black person labeled as a thug, as a gangster, as a thief, as a criminal, and all of this. And this is one of the main reasons why. It's because we don't have anybody to represent us in the media. And then if you look at the schools, we don't own, nearly any schools, no Afrocentric schools or African-centered education. We are being taught by middle-class white women in schools. So, not saying that they are wrong or right, but they are going to teach you.
Mean well.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They get into it to, I guess, help for the most part, but it's like, they won't tell you your real history because one, they don't know. Two, why would they? And it's not any slight at them or any fault of theirs. It's just, we need our own, or else, you see the stereotypes will continuously be perpetuated by the same people day in and day out.
And is that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, can you tell them where you got that article from?
This article is entitled "Black Media Need Ownership and Control." It was written April 28th, 2014, and it was by Black Press USA. So if you go to Black Press USA and just search "Black Media Need Ownership and Control," you can find the entire article. But I'm a numbers person. It just makes sense. Like a lot of what we talk about can be speculation, but when you bring the numbers into it, numbers don't lie. So that's why I kind of like to bring statistics and facts.
It speaks on in my opinion, one of Malcolm X's powerful quotes is only a fool will let his enemies or his oppressors teach his children. And now we live in a day and age where we have our schools not being controlled by us. And even though there are people there with good hearts and they come in there thinking, I'm going to help these kids, I'm going to go into the urban environment and uplift them, like you said, they don't know our story. They can't relate to us. They see us dealing with things they don't know how to deal with. And this is why we have people like Brother Malcolm who steps up over time, and we'll have more people. And we're really looking for each person to kind of become at least a piece of that person inside. And lead something, whatever it is that comes to your heart, and understand that the struggle that he fought and the victories that he won are still available for us. It's still there, still present. On that, I would also like to share one of the first excerpts from his book. This is actually chapter 1, and this is opening up, kind of giving you painting a picture of his beginnings. He was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and eventually he moved over to Detroit area. This is chapter 1 entitled Nightmare. Again, this is the autobiography of Malcolm X. It reads, when my mother was pregnant with me, she told me later, a party of hooded Ku Klux Klan raiders galloped up to our home in Omaha, Nebraska one night. Surrounding the house, brandishing their shotguns and rifles, they shouted for my father to come out. My mother went to the front door and opened it. Standing where they could see her pregnant condition, she told them that she was alone with her 3 small children and that my father was away preaching in Milwaukee. The Klansmen shouted threats and warnings at her that we had better get out of town because the good Christian white people were not going to stand for my father spreading trouble among the good Negroes of Omaha with the Back to Africa preachings of Marcus Garvey. My father, the Reverend Earl Little, was a Baptist minister, a dedicated organizer for Marcus Garvey's UNIA, which is the Universal Negro Improvement Association. With the help of such disciples as my father, Garvey, from his headquarters in New York City, Harlem, was raising the banner of black race purity and exhorting the Negro masses to return to their ancestral African homeland, a cause that made Garvey the most controversial black man on earth. Still shouting threats, the Klansmen finally spurred their horses and galloped around the house, shattering every window pane with their gun butts. Then they rode off into the night, the torches flaring as suddenly as they had come. My father was enraged when he returned. He decided to wait until I was born, which would be soon, and then the family would move. I'm not sure why he made this decision, for he was not a frightened Negro, as most then were, and many still are today. My father was a big, 6'4", very black man. He had only one eye. He had lost the other one. How he lost the other one, I have never known. He was from Reynolds, Georgia, where he had left school after the 3rd or maybe 4th grade. He believed, as Marcus Garvey, that freedom, independence, and self-respect could never be achieved by the Negro in America, and therefore the Negro should leave America to the white man and return to his African land of origin. Among the reasons my father had decided to risk and dedicate his life to help disseminate this philosophy among his people was that he had seen 4 of his 6 brothers die by violence, 3 of them killed by the white man, including 1 by lynching. What my father could not know then was that of the remaining 3, including himself, only 1, my Uncle Jim, would die in bed of natural causes. Northern white police were later to shoot my Uncle Oscar, and my father was finally himself die to the white man's hands. It has always been my belief that I too will die by violence. I have done all that I can to be prepared. So I share that because, again, it shows that he was in tune with his work. He faced death and never flinched, and he realized that our lives, and we must all realize that our lives really, I won't say they're valueless or meaningless without a purpose, but they are to a certain extent, in that if you know you're here to do something, but you just give into the fear of the what ifs and what so and so may say, you won't have the legacy. You won't fulfill the purpose of you coming here. And even in the face of death, we have a great teacher and a great leader who looked it right in the face and decided that it had to stop. Enough was enough for him. He didn't care. He didn't care about anything. Again, one of his greatest quotes that we all know to this day is "by any means necessary," and that's what Brother Malcolm stood for, which is a great example. Something that this book here, the autobiography of Malcolm X, is something that has definitely changed my life. I don't know many people who have read it and said it didn't change their life. I actually cried when I finished reading it because it was that powerful. Again, it's something that it shakes you to the core of what's happening right now in the fabric of what quote unquote America. And it also speaks on the video we showed opening the show where he was talking about the hypocrisy of democracy and how what everyone claims it to be and how much people in love with this concept of democracy and going to vote and kind of just pretending like there's no issue, that there's a big elephant in the room that we have to continue to point out so that we can collectively work towards eliminating and removing it from the room. But
in one of his last interviews, he said it himself when he exposed the Nation of Islam and some of their practices that he said himself that I'm probably already a dead man, like, for releasing that information. And he said that if he was them, he would kill himself for releasing that kind of information. And he wouldn't believe it to be true unless the only reason why he believed it was because his own son told him about the leaders of the Nation of Islam. But he said if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't even believe that it was true. So it's like, I mean, he already knew. And it shows how fearless of a leader he was, because he could have just left. He could have went, overseas or went to somewhere else, but he stayed.
He also could have, decided to dummy down his message, or just keep giving you parts and bits and pieces of the truth, and all those types of things that we see rampant right now in the so-called conscious community. But we're just showing you that the kind of leader that Marcus Garvey was, and this is the reason that we pay homage to him, so that the people that may not be familiar or just know the taglines can go do some research, read the autobiography, and watch the movie by Spike Lee to kind of get a more deeper grasp on his life. And we got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages. Please check out the next video on on Malcolm X. And
Kindred spirits.
Yes, most definitely. I'm thinking about his father. His father is one of the organizers. And so check out this, and his mother. Check out this video, and please, you can comment and post on our Facebook page, Readyo Radio, or you can go to urbannationradio.com/live and comment on our live feed. Peace and power. See you soon. You know how
you say then that the United States is not the black man's country.
Definitely
American laws
not.
are not black men's laws.
No.
American laws are not the black man's laws.
Well, the laws here in America were made by white people for the benefit of white people. The Constitution was written by whites for the benefit of whites. It was never written for the benefit of blacks.